I remember my parents being very happy that I was what most would consider a good student and a smart student. I would get high grades. I liked going to school. I would like learning outside of school. I would watch like National Geographic and the Discovery Channel. Um, and I was good at science, which for my parents who immigrated from Mexico to be able to make sure that their children, me, and my brother and sister, would have good careers, for them, being good at science meant having a potential for a good, sustainable career that was high paying, which for them was them achieving their goals for me. Um, but I remember while I was a good student, I would also notice a lot of things outside of school that I never quite liked. Um, my parents being immigrants and not knowing English quite well, I remember having to translate for them a lot and having people's demeanors change when they see me talking to them first in English and then turning around to talk to my parents in Spanish and then just having their faces drop or having their air of politeness just go away. I would notice people talking about Mexican immigrants like they were some sort of animal coming and taking jobs and coming and ruining the economy when I also saw my parents working day and night. And so all these things just never sat quite right with me. Especially when I learned through the National Geographic Channel and Discovery Channel, because we didn't talk about it in school, learning about the history of this nation, its foundations in racism and genocide and slavery, and talking about it to my parents and telling them these things don't sit well with me. These things are wrong. They're horrible. My parents would always say, yeah, they are. And yes, a lot of them still happen today. But you know there's nothing you can do about it, Edwin, is what they would tell me. You focus on school. You focus on getting good grades. That's what your job is right now when you're a kid, when you're a student. And there's nothing you can do. And so I would go through school, taking their words to heart, and thinking, just being a good person, trying to be nice and kind to individuals will maybe in the future help. And so I went throughout high school seeing even more problems than that, looking at now like homophobia and bullying and mental health, and seeing them all add up and pile up to things that would never be talked about or that I would never be able to pursue in a career. It was just difficult for me to be able to sort out my passions like that. My enjoyment of science and my enjoyment of feeling like I was doing something to make the world a better place in some way, as cliche as that sounds. And until I got to college, I never let my academics and these social issues intersect. It wasn't until I was realizing I was no longer enjoying my chemistry and neuro courses and all the different science courses that I tried out, because none of them felt right. It wasn't until I realized I have no passion for science anymore because I'm working with the Center for Students of Color and the Queer Alliance and all these different organizations that do try to enact social change, that I see now that it can be a career path. This can be something I do for a living, and this can be something that I strive for. And so I ended up switching careers because of that to urban studies, not yet knowing what jobs were in store for me or what jobs I can even do, but I knew I wanted to study this further academically, and I knew I wanted to have a job in that field. And so as I went through all of the coursework, I kept realizing, I would say, we need to have these conversations sooner and earlier on, because we're told earlier on, and I was told early on, that we can't do anything about it and that we can't change it. Or if we're told we can't change it, we're told that it's not even a problem anymore, which is an even greater lie. And I realized that teachers had an immense power to give students that confidence and to tell students that these are things that are important. These are things that you can actually change, right? It may be difficult, it may take time, but you can change that. And for me, that's why I want to be an educator. That's why I want to be a teacher. That's why I want to support students and youth, because I never felt like I was able to do that in high school and in middle school and as a child. And that's something that I'm finally realizing that I can do. And for me, that's been my goal all along. And that's what I want to give to the world.